Well, we heard a lot about soil and furrows and water and all sorts of things this morning. So I think Jesus wants us to do some gardening today. What do you think? Our gardens, ourselves, our souls, our hearts. This parable is another way of Jesus attempting to teach us about the good news, and a way of examining our faith and our hearts. He wants us to enter into his teaching, to discover who we are in the hearing of this parable. Now, I do some gardening myself. I grow a little bit of this and a little bit of that. I'm well aware that not all seeds come up at the same time. Not all seeds take root at the same time. But my hope this morning is that as we unpack this parable, that you will hear Jesus' words, chew on them, and inwardly digest them. And just maybe, they'll take root. So let's look closer at this gospel. So there's a sower, there's some seed, and how many kinds of soil? I heard it. 4, that's correct. 4 kinds of soil. Come on, you'll wake up. In the chapters before this, Jesus is going around preaching to the crowds, teaching. They're asking questions of him. They're wanting to believe that he is the Messiah. Some believe, some don't, and some are just not quite sure yet. So now here he is in Galilee. Now, the reading said that the crowd was so large that Jesus had to get into a boat and go out in the middle of the lake to preach. Now, in Mark's gospel, Jesus says to the disciples, if you all don't get this one, I don't know if you're going to get any of them. Jesus knows the people in this town. He knows that they're farmers, that they're people that work the land. So he tells the story, he tells this parable in terms and in a concept that they can understand about sowing seed. So he tells the basic concept of sowing the seed, and that some fall on the path where there's no soil, some on rocky patches of land where there is little soil, some fall amongst thorns and weeds, and then there are the odd seeds that fall on good soil. And he starts out by explaining that the seed is the gospel. The seed is the word of God. The word comes to us in seed form. Our heart is the soil, and God is the sower. So it sets the process and the intent of the good news in our lives. We read the word and are hopefully moved to act on God's purpose for us and for the world. The focus here is not on the sower or the seed, but on the soil. We are the soil. And how we respond to the word, or in other words, how the seed grows, how our seed grows, shows others who God is in the world. The word comes to us in seed form. A little show and tell. Let's take popcorn. Okay? All right. What happens when we put heat to the popcorn? This in the microwave, this in a pot. What happens? It pops. It opens. And you know it's working when you hear that pop, 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 pop in the pan, right? So what happens in this little kernel? I mean, if you try to open that kernel with your teeth, we'd be at the dentist the next day, right? But what happens in that little kernel of corn? There is moisture. And as the heat hits that kernel, that moisture forms steam. And there is enough pressure that forms inside that kernel that it breaks open the shell. And we have that delicious, delicious thing called popcorn. Do you have steam in your shell? That when the word hits it, you get excited and you pop with goodness and mercy and grace? The seed needs nourishment. The seed needs tending to. Jesus says, when anyone hears the message about the kingdom and does not understand it, the evil one comes and snatches away what has been sown in the heart. This is the ground that has been trampled and compacted. Let's say our sidewalks, for instance. Because now, if anybody has sown seed or thrown seed, of course, back in that day, they didn't have tractors and all these machines that did everything. They went through their land and they just tossed seed. And the seed fell anywhere. So there's no seed on this walkway, sidewalk, trampled ground. And as soon as the seed falls on the ground, the birds come. Have you ever seen, as you travel, when the farmers are out on the tractors, and there are all these birds in the back of the tractor? As soon as the seed falls on the ground, they come, they eat it up. Or when the rain comes, or when the wind comes, it just gets washed and blown away. It bears no fruit. The seed falling on the rocky ground refers to someone who hears the word. And Jesus says, at once receive it with great joy. But there's not much soil on that rocky ground. The seed, however, does take root, but the root system is weak. And it does not go deep enough into the soil to take strong hold. And it lasts only a short while. When the sun comes out, heating up the rocks, the roots get burned and the plant withers and dies. And when the rain comes along, it just washes everything away. Jesus says, these are folks that when trouble comes, they quickly fall away. They can't stand heat, so they burn out in the kitchen. Then he describes the seed falling amongst the thorns and amongst the weeds, referring to someone who hears the word, but the worries of life, the deceitfulness of the world, the desire for wealth and power choke out the word. You see, the goal is not to be identified by our titles or our wealth or our possessions, but who we are created to be for God's purpose. For God's purpose. Everything else is gravy. Believe you me, I'm a work in progress. You know what I'm saying? Lastly, there is seed that falls on the good soil. Jesus says, this is the one who hears the word and understands it. They know how the gospel message has changed their life. And they can't wait to get more. They come every Sunday to sit in the pew and hear the gospel message, to pray the prayers, and to be with the community. They know what it means, as it says in Eucharistic prayer C, to come to the table for strength, and not just comfort. To come to the table for renewal, and not just for pardon. And then Jesus says, this is the one who produces a crop yielding 100, 60, and 30 times what was sown. Whoever has ears, let them hear. But I'm going to add something else. Let them hear and let it reach the heart. I don't know about you, or maybe not today, but I'm going to go home and I'm going to start working on my garden. I'm going to have to do some weeding, some tilling, and some fertilizing, because I want to be better soil. I want to be more than someone that just hears the word, receives it with joy, and then runs away as soon as trouble comes. I want to be someone who, even though my seed may form in rocky soil, I want my soil to be good and deep and hearty so that the word takes root in my heart. And I don't want to be the one who is empty, where the seed doesn't even take root anytime anyhow. I want to be someone who bears fruit, that feeds someone else. When I was walking my little puppy dogs this morning, it was in my backyard, and there was a bag of Miracle Grow that I didn't throw out the other day. And I just happened to have my phone with me, and I looked up Miracle Grow. Don't ask me, I think it was just divine intervention. And first of all, Miracle Grow, really? Okay. Here is their mission statement. At Miracle Grow, a garden is more than plants. We believe it's a chance to connect with our communities, improve our environment, and help you make the most out of your piece of earth. We're in pursuit of a greener world that benefits everyone. And we make it our purpose to help you grow more good in your garden and beyond. Who knew? Right? So folks, work on your gardens. You've got this little green insert. Take it home. Read the word. Sit